Welcome back, folks and friends. Connecting Dots here. It's December the 9th, 2014. Okay, I decided to make this video because, well, let's raise the storm. What can I say, folks? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, well, you'll have to go watch this video here, uploaded 3 hours ago. I didn't make the video. I was very clear about that. And it basically points out how Kevin D. Blanch and company, well, what can I say? They lie. The proof's right there in their very own words. 1 minute Kevin's saying he didn't get any money, not a damn thing, and Jeff's a lying lunatic, and the next minute, well, he's admitting that he had given money. He would have got a 40% interest on the money that he would have invested, but he didn't invest the money, and then you end up finding out that Jeff Palco has given him over $18,500 for the investment fraud of the Post-Ignorance Project. So don't get suckered into it, and that's what that video is all about. It's not about my information. It's about Jeff Palco sharing with you his own personal experience of being scammed by these people and how they're all ignoring him now. He's even banned from the Fukushima hounds, and they won't even answer his phone calls. So basically, I came out 3 hours later here because I saw some of the comments here because I touched them on the Swami Amalami. Go watch the video. That's the one I uploaded 3 hours later. I connected the dots on that one, and I gave many of you that are new to the nuclear industry, Fukushima videos on YouTube. I'm giving you a heads up how to figure out who's behind it and how they all interconnect. And someone said, well, you know, I listen to RT News and I listen to Democracy Now! Does that make me a shill? Hey, I don't know what to say. If you know it's corrupt, why would you watch it? If you know MSNBC is giving you half bullshit, why would you watch it? If you know Alex Jones is a Zionist shill who's going to give you 85% truth and 50% misinformation, why would you even bother thumb up his video? I'll leave that with you. It's, you know, we still have an open free society at this point, so if you want to go thumb up Alex Jones and Democracy Now! Without connecting your dots, that's A-okay. And I'll remind folks that, you know, I went over at the end of the video here, if you watch it the last 5 minutes, I believe, I go over some of the people that I mentioned in that video, how they're all interplay, they're all interconnected, and they all promote each other on the side. They're all interconnected. All these scammers, the Kevin D. Blanch, the Arnie Gunnarsons, Beautiful Girl by Dana, they're all there. And the one I forgot to show, which I should have, was, well, Godard's Journal, who I talk about. And what does Godard's Journal do? Well, you go look at his YouTube channel and he promotes Arnie Gunderson. So this is why I've been talking about Arnie Gunderson and the nuclear industry, how we've been psy-opted. It's been co-opted here, folks. They've jumped right on YouTube. This is why I've been mentioning even at Energy News, it's fear, fear, fear. Not proper reporting. Even the starfish death, they jumped on the bandwagon saying it was Fukushima death, and now we know it's a virus. How do we know that? Because they changed the water, the water from the ocean before it was in the aquarium, was run through, was it the ultra ray lights, whatever it is. They have a way to kill all the bacteria in water. It has to do with ultraviolet lights. So they ran the water through the ultraviolet light cleansing system, and no starfish died in that water. However, the ocean water that they brought in and simply filtered without killing the bacteria through the ultraviolet system, all the starfish got infected. So they believe it's something in the water. And as I mentioned here, I got an interview coming up with Drew from Cornell University, Drew Harvell. Hang tight here. As soon as I get her on the phone, you'll get you'll get from her directly from her. She's a researcher who worked with the starfish. So it's clear that Energy News, who is promoting Arnie Gunderson, Miss Milky the Cloud, Radchick, they're all promoting Arnie Gunderson. Arnie Gunderson is on Alex Jones. Arnie Gunderson is on RT News. Radchick made it out on RT News a couple of times. Imagine that. This is the girl that actually lied about, she went around here in 2011 saying that the radiation had rained down on her daughter's arm and had burnt her daughter's arm. Anyways, it's sad, but I'm glad that many of you have your critical thinking caps on, and as I say this stuff, and although you have not researched it, you have enough common sense to know that if I'm speaking it, it's probably true. What can I say? I can't prove every single thing that I come across here because I've been doing this for years. So if you don't believe me, do your own research, connect your dots, go click on their YouTube channels and see who they promote. I got to deal with this comment here, or I should say an email that this person sent to me, because it's very important here from my perspective that you guys know what's going on. because someone's alerted me here that there's a bunch of hatred being said about me, about my last video. What can I say? They haven't got it figured out yet. And when they figure it out, they'll realize that I'm actually on the right side. So this person here talks about the Fukushima hounds. They know where I live. They know where you are, and so on and so forth. I'll tell them, and I'll tell you, and anybody else who's trying to threaten me. The same thing as I said to Montagraph. You guys go ahead, knock yourselves out. Post all the information, all the pictures you have on me, my address, my IP address, postal code, criminal record. Give it all, folks. I'll tell you why, because I really don't care. I'm all about the truth. It's not about what I've done in my past. In fact, I've said I was nothing but a bad boy years back. I've changed my ways. I'm walking the line now, and if you don't want to walk the line with me, go ahead, try to expose me. Have a good day. Okay, so he goes on to say, I think you have exposed them. I think that's what's going on here. Like I said, it all ties into Arnie Gunderson, right down to Energy News, Miss Milky the Clown, radchick, and I'll even add this little thing here that many of you that follow Fukushima may recall this. We used to have another independent reporter by the name of Patrick Henry. Patrick Henry had made a video here, showed how in emails between his wife and radchick and Miss Milky the Clown, it became apparent that Arnie Gunderson had hired Miss Milky the Clown. That's right. That's why Miss Milky the Clown puts video after video after video and promotes Arnie Gunderson and Energy News. Connect your dots, folks. Very easy here. Who else would be sitting at home making all these videos? She's being paid. Henry Patrick's wife found out. She also found out that radchick was looking to get hired by Arnie Gunderson. I'm willing to bet that Energy News is run by the nuclear industry, and I'm almost willing to bet that Arnie Gunderson runs Energy News. Well, not him necessarily, but it's part of his little contract. What can I say? It's about the nuclear industry controlling us online, and I've said it before. I'm not going to stop on this, okay? So, I'm going to stick with it, okay? So he goes on to say he's earned my trust, and he goes on, maybe with your investigating skills, you can take it up a notch. Like, what are the real consequences of Fukushima disaster? Who and how is the FUFU information really being manipulated, and by whom? Well, I think I've just covered that. And why? Well, I believe it's the global warming agenda. One of the things I found that they all tie in together, the related universities, and they promote climate change. CO2 is the end of the world bullshit. And I've said that before here. I live on Vancouver Island with the University of Victoria, and they are responsible behind your carbon tax bullshit study here. Okay, in North America, right here on Vancouver Island, this is why the law information students from that university would not respond to any of my responses when I went to the free law information session here in Victoria. No one else showed up. I was the only person for the first 5 meetings. No one else showed up here. Over 10 hours of free law access. No one joined or showed up. I was the only person. I came with 5 different cases. They wouldn't even answer any of my cases. And it's because of the laws that I was talking about, what I wanted the students to talk about. So the University of Victoria is behind the global warming. Arnie Gunderson is behind the global warming. What's her name? Laura Monette, global warming. And it's also trying to make the conspiracy world look like conspiracy retards. I believe that's the other agenda. Why is that? Well, because we have Dana and Laura Monette and what's his name? Lambert, Webfree or whatever. These nut people are disseminating bullshit information with on 9/11 as far as what some giant laser came down from the sky and pulverized the anyways, architects for 9/11 truth have already showed that the dust samples taken from ground zero around 9/11 and other places in New York City contain nanothermite, which can only be bought in 2 high U.S. security military laboratories. So it was not a Taliban or anything of the sorts. Okay, I'm going to continue on the rest of this video with what you're asking about, the impact here in this section right here. What are the impacts on the West Coast? And, well, basically, it's something that I was talking about from the very beginning here. I'm not sure if you saw that video, Fukushima Day 1205. I've talked about a German mock study of a Fukushima plant meltdown, that type of reactor, the Mark I, what would take place. And the German study was quite clear about what would take place. And in my videos, what can I say? I made the video. They were predicting that the Strontium-90 would be our biggest concern in the future, and it would start showing up around the 1000th day of the meltdown. On Fukushima Day 1046, I think I made a series of stories that came out thereafter around that time period, and you can go look here in my Fukushima Day videos if you want to find out which one exactly. But I showed here how there was TEPCO was releasing information showing how the Strontium-90 kept getting higher and higher. And by the way, I got good news on that. TEPCO just is buying a new machine here next week, and we won't have to wait, was it 3 weeks now for a Strontium-90 sample to be released? We're actually going to get it within 30 minutes. So that's a big improvement. So my biggest concern, I'll say it again, is Strontium-90. There are hundreds of other radioactive isotopes, but the German study was quite specific when it said that Strontium-90 was going to be the biggest one coming out of these type of nuclear reactors in a China syndrome meltdown. At this point, we've had stories coming out from TEPCO that show that there's elevating levels of Strontium-90 at Fukushima itself. In fact, in the last month here, the levels have raised 50,000%. I didn't report on that story because I believe it has something to do with the barriers they put up. So now what happens is the water is pooling up here and the radiation seems to be augmenting in the basement. But regardless, the German study was quite clear about this, that when they researched it, Strontium-90 was going to be the biggest concern, and if you watched the video I uploaded 4 weeks ago, it showed how they had found the cesium-137 here, 134, off our shoreline, off the west coast. No one's testing for Strontium-90, and I believe that as we go forward here into the future, there's no doubt about it that radiation will be reaching the west coast. And testing the water will always show low levels, which is what I've said in that video. Prepare yourself in the future. You will always hear the same thing coming from Ken Buesler and everyone else. Health Canada, doesn't matter where you live in the world, they'll tell you that the ocean levels, the radiation found in the ocean was low. It will always be low, and that's because they're not checking what they're supposed to be checking. And I made that quite clear in my Fukushima Day 1205. I showed how even the Food and Drug Administration here 5 months ago in June 2014 lied to you about the safety, the testing of the fish in Alaska. That's very clear, and I've shared in my that other video down below here, I shared with you a series of studies here how they found radiated fish. So I'm going to stick with what I've been saying from the very beginning, that we need to test, have ongoing tests on the west coast for Strontium-90 and cesium-134. Obviously, all the other isotopes, there's no doubt about that. We need someone that's going to be testing it. Because even if it's not Strontium-90, at least if we can keep picking up cesium-137, increasing levels in the water, according to Ken Buesler, then I'm satisfied to know that all the water filters, the bivalves, and everything else here, they are also bioaccumulating all the radiation. Has everything died? There's no doubt about it. It has not died, and we would see that would be reflected in the price of the seafood at your restaurant, at your local grocery store. It's not dying. As soon as fish would start dropping off, folks, the fisheries would be in trouble. Here we are, over 3.5 years after this Fukushima meltdown, and we have people telling you that the ocean's dead. I'm not going to be part of that scam. I will keep promoting proper testing, and I will also keep promoting testing seafood, kelp, okay? Not these bottom dwellers, which is one of the things I showed here, how the Food and Drug Administration would pick the only 3 fish. Yeah, they tested 3 fish, and they're all bottom dwellers that don't go anywhere. They don't migrate. So they tested all the wrong fish, yet the news back then, you know, as I check the news every day for Fukushima, it's one of my my topics, what can I say? And I kept finding story after story back in spring 2014 here, how the Food and Drug Administration said that the Alaska fish was safe. So I'm not going to promote that bullshit. I'm going to promote proper checking of proper substances and foods. So heads up here, I'm going to be changing this. You truthers are obviously still going to be part of the gang here, but I'm going to change it to the disinformation gang because I think it's important that I make everyone aware of who these corrupt people are and how they all interconnect. And I think once the faces are all there, as you go along to the YouTube channels, you'll be able to see it for yourself that it's always the same people that are promoted on YouTube in this area here. You notice mine is blank here because I've turned mine off. Everyone that owns a YouTube channel, you control it. Okay, that's it. Hope you enjoyed the info.